Have you ever done something before that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you go ahead and do it anyway? Really, the only, and this is maybe not the only, may not be the best example that I can use, but for a male, the male experience, right? When dudes open their phone up, they're typing in Pornhub, they click on that video, and they start beating their meat. In the moment, you're probably like, damn, dude, this fucking bitch is fire that I'm watching, right? It's kind of gay, right? If you're watching if you're watching heterosexual porn, it's kind of gay if you're looking at another dude's cock, in my opinion. But that's another conversation, right? You know, you're beating your meat, stroking your shit, and you finally bust. You get that post-nut clarity, and you look at yourself and you're like, why the fuck did I just do that? That, my friends, is what you call shame. And shame is something that we as a society have lost. America right now is in disarray. Trump almost got assassinated. Women think that they can be men. Men think that they can be women, literally and figuratively. Guys are chopping their dicks off, chopping their balls off. They're being controlled by their women. They're simping. They're chasing after women who are promiscuous, who are whores. And men just don't know how to be men anymore, man. It's very unfortunate because it's a multitude of things. There's various reasons as why we've gotten to where we are right now. But I think one of the major points and reasons why we are today where we are is because we don't shame people anymore. We don't shame people for being fucking weird. We don't shame people for being whores and being promiscuous. We don't shame men for being weak because technology has made everybody think that they're equal. Now, don't get me wrong. In a spiritual, divine essence, right? Every human soul is equal. Every human has value. But I think there's a duality to that, and there has to be, because, and I'm relatively new to this, right? As far as I know, all a good Christian needs is God by his side. He will take care of the rest. But that is in fact false, because a man who does not take action and take personal responsibility to take control of his life will never have God on his side. And so if he is lazy, if he's gluttonous, if he's a fucking 600-pound guy, maybe that's a little extreme. If he's a 300-pound guy sitting on the fucking couch eating potatoes, God is not going to favor that man, regardless of whether he, follows his word or not. He's not living in accordance with it. He's not living in a state of higher being. He's not living a higher purpose. All he's fucking doing is repeating the same thing. And this world is never stationary, dude. They teach you in school that this world is made of atoms, and atoms vibrate constantly, and this space itself is constantly moving. It's expanding and spinning, and the world is never at a state of being constant. It is either growing or shrinking, expanding or contracting. And the same goes with you, whether it be your personal, spiritual, your career. Whatever. You can apply this concept to just about anything. If you're not growing spiritually, then you're dying. If you're not growing as an individual, then you're dying. If your finances aren't growing, then they're regressing. We are hardly ever, if ever, at a state of being constant. And even if you are constant, that's more similar to dying than it is growing. So we unfortunately don't know how to push ourselves outside of our comfort zones anymore, and that is something that we should be ashamed of. Men in particular, right? men in particular, if you go back to high school, right, people getting bullied and shit. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of bullying, but I do think that bullying definitely helps correct behaviors that are abnormal. Now, if somebody's being a fucking asshole, right, if somebody's being an asshole to somebody for no reason, and just being a bully for the sake of being a bully, then I think it's very important for somebody who is hyper aware and knows that, okay, yeah, maybe this kid doesn't need to act the way he's acting, but he also doesn't deserve to be fucking tortured on his day-to-day, right? That person should have the courage to step up on behalf of this person who is weak, right? The only thing that is worth being strong for is to protect those who need protecting. Unfortunately, there are some men who are weak and those who are strong, but those who are weak should not be comfortable with staying weak, right? Everybody should strive to become better, should strive to become stronger, should strive to become smarter. You should never stop chasing a better you, is the best way that I can put it. Women in days past used to have chastity. They used to have respect. They used to have a variety of different traits that would make them attractive to men. And not saying that women of today aren't attractive, right? It's not what I'm saying. I love women. I have a wife and 2 beautiful daughters. But I pray that the women in my life don't end up like the women of today, which today women have OnlyFans. They have multiple partners. They're entertaining multiple men. Women don't know how to respect authority. They think that they can clock in at a job and comply with a company's core values, but not her husband's or her boyfriend's or her father's at that. And women aren't shamed for that. It's kind of funny because everybody knows that when women have a promiscuous past, it's disgusting. And there's a variety of reasons for that, right? The first one being that she's fucking nasty. She's been touched by different people. But the real fucking biological reason is that men know that if this girl has a promiscuous past, more than likely she's not going to stop being promiscuous. And if I end up getting this girl pregnant, there's no way to ensure paternity. That's just how we're hardwired, right? We're hardwired to think, oh, if this woman is sleeping with multiple men, how can I ensure that this baby is mine? Whereas vice versa, you flip it on the man can have sex with multiple women, and as long as they're not being promiscuous, he knows that that baby is in fact his because she's the only one that he's sleeping with. But in any case, right, women shame other women for being promiscuous. The first thing that women do whenever they start to yap at each other is call each other bitches. They call each other whores, hoes, skanks, sluts. It's kind of crazy and it's kind of interesting to watch. But in any case, men aren't shamed anymore for being weak, and women aren't shamed anymore for being whores. And I honestly think that would solve a lot of problems in today's society. Like I said, men are trying to be women and women are trying to be men, bro. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate because in this great society that we live in this great country, in the United States of America, women have become hyper masculine and men hyper feminine. And I can just use this as an example, right? The fact that a man like Donald Trump was almost assassinated. If in the event he was assassinated and it all came down to it, the world not the world, but the country goes into disarray, goes into chaos, it's going to be strong men who are going to stand up for what's right. And it's going to be strong men who are going to be doing the fighting on behalf of those that they need to protect, which is going to be the women and children. And unfortunately, there isn't going to be any place for weak men to partake in that battle, aside from partaking in being a victim. And I'm not saying that I'm like fucking for civil war or anything, which I'm not. I think the fact that a coward who was interested in taking the life of somebody he disagreed with versus trying to put his opinion out into the world and change the minds and ideas of those who he shares spaces with, which is going to be his society, right? His immediate neighborhood, maybe friends that he has, if he has friends. He chose to take the cowardly way out and try to take somebody else's life, and in turn, because he was willing to take that risk, he had his own life taken. It's just very unfortunate, man. Very, very unfortunate. We live in a world of fucking cowards, and men are being taught that violence is the way. Now, don't get me wrong. You gotta know how to be violent, bro. You gotta know how to be violent, and you gotta know when to be violent. But it's not being violent that makes a man a man. It's being able to control that violence and unleash it when necessary, right? You go to a fucking grocery store, you're not trying to start problems with the guy next to you. Now, if this man starts fucking if somebody becomes a threat to you, obviously you need to know how to neutralize the threat. I say all this to end with this, right? I pray, and I'm a little bit of an optimist, right? I have faith that as society continues to go down its path, and this is a very optimistic outlook on this situation, right? I think that after the attempted assassination of President Trump, I'm praying that people realize that there are people in this world who will go to any length and any means to ensure that they remain in control. They don't care who they hurt, who they kill. They just don't care, because they're willing to do whatever, by whatever means necessary, in order to ensure that they maintain control. Whether that be, the deep state, cowardly bosses who use their authority over their employees, cowardly men who use physical force over women, whatever the case is, right? The powers that be are cowards. And I'm praying that after this attempted assassination, it's going to be the individuals who the little guy who realizes that he needs to be strong, he needs to be a man, he needs to take his life into his own hands and make responsible choices to put himself in a position to not only be independent financially, but to be physically fit and to be able to discern good and evil. I think if you have those three things, right? The ability to discern evil, financial freedom, and strength, a fit body, whether it's fucking, endurance training, weightlifting training. A healthy body is a healthy mind. I think if you have those three things, that will be the baseline for society, and men will be able to correct the improper behaviors of women. Women will begin to fall in line and become women again. And the children that those two have together will hopefully reform the trajectory in which society is going, because degeneracy and I don't know what else, and I think that's it. Just degeneracy in general. Degeneracy is ruining families. It's ruining lives, and I just pray that God gives everybody strength and grace. Because we're not perfect, man. We're not perfect. People make mistakes. It's just important that we learn from those mistakes and try to improve ourselves so that we don't continue to make the same mistakes. And don't be a fucking coward, bro. If you're gonna fucking, like, it's one thing to be in person and challenge somebody, but if you're gonna be on the internet and, man, motherfuckers were calling for the death of Trump. How did he miss? How do you miss was trending on fucking X, bro? If you're gonna be calling for the death of somebody on the internet, at least have the fucking nuts to put your face on the internet. Don't be a fucking coward and hide behind some fucking avatar or some picture. Be a fucking man, be a fucking woman. Grab yourself by your nuts and say what you fucking mean, and be willing to put your fucking face out there. Because if you're not, get the fuck off my shit. You're just a fucking bitch and a coward. So that's all I gotta say about that, bro. We need to bring shame back. Make shame great again. Shame is a great teacher. It teaches us, it shows us where we lack. It gives us external reinforcement. If those around us are seeing issue, or if you're seeing issue with yourself and you are feeling shame because of a certain behavior, of a certain action, regardless of what it is, that's your fucking body and your mind telling you that you need to fix something in your life, and you need to fix it fast, and you need to fix it now. Because anxiety, depression, shame, these are all ways that your body notify you, like, hey bro, something's fucking wrong. You need to correct this, because this is gonna lead us down a trajectory or down a path that we don't really want to see. And some people don't know how to listen to that voice. They don't know how to listen to that voice in their head, their conscious, that authentic voice of God. And it's very unfortunate because people ruin their lives over it because they don't know how to listen. They don't have discipline. They don't have the discipline to listen to that voice and do what's necessary to put themselves in a better position. So do with that what you will, bro. I could be just speaking a bunch of bullshit. I'd bet on myself and say I'm not. So whether you want to listen or not, it's really up to you, bro. I could give a fuck if you do. I'm gonna do me, you do you. Just don't be a fucking coward, okay? Everybody I hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.